I've worked as a hammer hand or whatever, like a labourer, on construction sites as a young guy. Even for a young guy, that's quite like a intimidating environment.
Definitely.
Going onto the building site, things are moving around. A lot of, manly men, God, I'd love me saying that. A lot of manly men walking around, like building things, making things happen. Guys wearing, carrying a sheet of jib all by themselves, walking past, like, geez, what's going on here? So for a guy, it's intimidating.
Definitely.
What was it like for a female?
So my first day, Troy had given me some uniform, but unfortunately he only had XL available. I don't think he realised when he threw me the shirt. So it was like, it looked like a dress on me, and I could only get these shorts from the warehouse that were men's tradie shorts because I couldn't find any women's workwear, which was fine. I mean, it's a pair of shorts, but the sizing was a little off. So yeah, I looked ridiculous. I had these new shiny boots, and work boots shouldn't be shiny. So when you don't look good, you don't feel good. Exactly. So I already felt silly.
Super self-conscious the whole time, yeah.
I was already, you look like an idiot. On my way to this new job site, it was the first day for the project. It was a big multi-million-dollar build in Mission Bay. The guy I was going to work with was Māori. He did the block, so he kind of had a bit of clout in the industry, and everyone knows who Māori is. So I was already a little bit intimidated by who I was going to go work with. And I showed up, and I just felt like a lamb going to slaughter. There was just, it was scary. There were people everywhere. There was diggers. But I was greeted with 3 guys, so Māori, Sam, and Tom, and they were lovely, like straight away. Māori didn't treat me any differently. So Māori was the foreman, and Tom was another apprentice, and Sam was a builder. And yeah, he treated me exactly the same, very kind, and kind of just got stuck in, go do this, go do that. I remember my first job on the tools was to dig a trench for a silt fence, and it was a shovel. I was like, I know how to use a shovel, that's fine. But it was in gravel, and I don't know if you ever tried to dig a trench in gravel. The shovel doesn't really go anywhere. And I was like, oh no. Like instantly the self-doubt creeped in. I was like, I'm not cut out for this. And then Troy showed up on site, and here I am like trying to shove this shovel, and it's not like sand, like it's not going anywhere, and I just look stupid. I remember being like, I think I'd be faster with my hands, and just started using my hands to dig this trench. And yeah, fast forward, I obviously started my apprenticeship. I did three months, not work experience because Troy paid me, which was great, but I did 3 months on the tools before he offered me an apprenticeship and signed me up with BCITO, which I think is pretty common. If you're going to do an apprenticeship, it's a big commitment for an employer to register with you with an ITO. So
yeah, 100%. And so you just 3 months just to kind of see if you're working well
together.
Yeah, it's almost just like an attitude check, right?
Yeah.
If you have a good attitude, good work ethic.
And same for me, like that was for me to go, yep, I'm going to commit to this, or no, I'm out. After 3 months, I wouldn't say I loved it. It was really hard. And retrospectively, Māori is probably the hardest working man I know. He works like a dog. He's really good at what he does. So he definitely worked us just as hard as he works. I think we did some pretty long hours, and it was all earthworks. The start of a project is always the hardest, right? You're in the ground, you're in the clay, you're moving hard fill. It's a slog. And so that was my first exposure. And I remember all the guys saying to me, don't worry, we'll work with timber soon. I was like, okay, cool. And then everyone said that the first year is your hardest year. I had to dig this whole, I did stay primarily on my first year with that one project, which is also really lucky because I got to see a job from start to finish. Cool. Whereas, I don't know, quite often the apprentice might get moved around just because so-and-so needs, a monotonous task to be done at that project. But I was lucky enough to stay on that one. And I did have to dig this gigantic hole, which you probably need to see a picture to actually understand, but it was bigger than me. And the guys I remember the boys were really worried about me, and they just kept saying, "It'll get better, sis. Don't worry." Like, kind of patting me on the back, like, "Don't worry about this hole. Don't let it beat you." And I remember thinking, this isn't so bad. I don't mind digging the hole. And I remember the end of the day, like, everything hurt. I bet mainly for the rest of my apprenticeship, everything hurt after work. By Friday, I was shattered. Like, Friday beers, I'm just, tired and gone. But yeah, I thought if I could do that hole, then I could probably do the rest of it. And they were right. It got a lot easier as the years go on. And you're no longer the lackey doing all the kind of laborious tasks. You actually get to get into the building and the framing and all the fun stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty cool how they took you under their wing, made you feel comfortable. And also, so you said Tom was also an apprentice at that time. So
Yep.
So was that kind of nice having another apprentice that's a little bit ahead of you?
Yeah, so I think he was in his second year at the time.
Right.
And yeah, it was good having someone else, but I was definitely the lackey in that environment.
Yeah.
Which
You're the low rung of the crew. So that's sort of standard, right? As the apprentice is generally quite alone, do their own thing. So that's definitely like a difficult thing for apprentices coming through, where they're going to be on their own. They're going to be doing all the crappy jobs.
But I get it, right? Like, you do need to earn and do your time. Yeah. And part of building, there are some really laborious tasks that just need to be done by someone. And why would you get the guy who's getting paid $60 an hour to do it when you could get the guy who's getting paid $20?
Yeah.
It's part of the process. And I tried really hard to respect the process. I struggled quite a bit being an apprentice because I love to be in charge. So getting told what to do, especially and I think everyone goes through this point, towards the end of your apprenticeship where you think you know better. And sometimes I'd argue maybe I did. Maybe I did know that, like, this, it's actually a lot easier if we do it this way, bro. And you're just not getting listened to because you haven't made it yet. You haven't reached that invisible line of being a qualified builder where all of a sudden you've got a voice.
So how do you find, so it sounds to me like you had a good attitude at least, even though you had to bite your lip from time to time.
Yeah, I think attitude is everything, hey? And I think what I say to anyone who, especially females who are looking to do a trade, is it's not easy. So it's a great job, super fun. But I think a lot of people sugarcoated it for me. When I was looking at doing it, they said, "Oh, you'll be fine, mate. It's fine. Give it a go. You're pretty tough, but it's a hard job." And yeah, Troy said to me in my interview, which was like a really good practical gauge. I'm quite a logical person. He said, "If you can lift a sheeted jib will probably be your hardest thing you carry." He was wrong. I'd say a sheeted strand board is the hardest thing you carry, but a bag of concrete and maybe like 2 or 3 sticks of 4x2, because those are the things those are the laborious tasks. And digging a hole, you can kind of go at your own pace, mixing concrete, all of that sort of stuff. But you do need to be able to carry a sheeted jib by yourself, really.
Yeah. So there's definitely a strength component
that
you had to overcome at the beginning.
I'd say on strength, though, I mean, I'm not a stocky unit. No. I'm not made of muscle. But there's definitely smart ways to go about it, rather than, it's not just brute force. Sometimes it is with a sledgehammer, maybe, but other times leverage is your friend, gravity is your friend. There's certain tools you can buy. Gloves are your friend. Quite often you're lifting something sharp and it's really heavy because your hands are dying, It's actually not about, and it's all about the technique that you use to pick something up. You get used to it. Carrying timber, for example, a 6-meter stick, it's really heavy if it's not centered on your shoulder. But if you can figure out where the pivot point is, and just be smart about it.